Welcome to Techdaily.ai and welcome back to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
This is where we try to cut through all the noise, sift through the information overload, and really get to the core insights on a topic.
Yep, distill it down.
Our mission really is to arm you with the essential knowledge and hopefully deliver some of those aha moments that help you see the bigger picture and what it means for you.
Make sense of the trends.
Exactly. And before we jump into today's topic, which is frankly quite fascinating, this deep dive is proudly sponsored by Stonefly.
Ah, yes. Stonefly.
They're your trusted solution provider and advisor for things like enterprise storage, backup disaster recovery, hyper-converged VMware, Hyper-V, Proximox clusters.
Really the whole stack.
The whole stack. AI servers, SA365, that's their turnkey security appliance, and public and private cloud solutions too.
Comprehensive stuff.
Definitely. You can learn more about everything they offer at stonefly.com.
Good to know.
So today, we're not just ticking off another milestone in satellite internet. We're really looking at something bigger, a phenomenon that's genuinely reshaping how we connect globally.
It feels like a tipping point almost.
It does. Imagine a world where reliable, high-speed internet isn't, a luxury item, but just there, no matter how remote you might be.
That's the promise.
That's the promise. And we're exploring it today, specifically looking at Starlink's incredible manufacturing growth. We want to understand the sheer speed, the scale of their production.
And what it means down the line.
Exactly. What it really means for you, the user, and the broader tech landscape. So get ready. The pace of this innovation is pretty wild.
Let's dive in.
Okay, let's just start with the headline number because it's mind-boggling. SpaceX has officially produced its 10 millionth Starlink kit.
10 million.
10 million dishes. That's not just a big number, is it? It feels like a statement.
It absolutely is. And what's really fascinating here, what really puts it in perspective, is the acceleration.
Right. Tell us about that.
Well, think about it. It took Starlink almost 4 years, roughly, to build the first 5 million kits. Okay, 4 years for 5 million.
Okay, yeah.
But then they didn't just repeat that. They doubled it. They hit the 10 million mark in just about 11 months. 11 months.
Wow. So 4 years for the first half, less than 1 year for the second half?
Precisely. This isn't just, steady growth. It's a massive scaling curve. It indicates a huge leap in their production capabilities. It's a manufacturing velocity you rarely see, especially with complex hardware like this.
That acceleration is definitely the key takeaway there. It's not static, and these aren't just sitting on shelves, are they? This news comes right as SpaceX also announced their subscriber numbers have crossed 6 million.
Right, so the kits are moving.
Yeah, these dishes are going out, getting installed, powering connections at an astonishing rate.
Exactly. And the fact that the kit production number is running significantly ahead of the active subscriber count, that tells you two things. One, there's widespread adoption happening. People want this. Two, there's significant ongoing demand. They're building for the future, clearly anticipating even more growth.
So they're building inventory, maybe getting ready for new markets?
Could be both. It speaks volumes about the global hunger for decent internet, especially in places that traditional broadband just hasn't reached effectively. It suggests they're strategically trying to stay ahead of that demand curve.
And it's important, I think, to remember the people behind these numbers.
Yeah.
We saw this milestone actually shared publicly by Sujay Solman. He's a senior facilities manager at SpaceX, posted it on LinkedIn.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and it really highlights the pride, the achievement, the sheer hard work inside the company to hit these kinds of targets.
Absolutely. That human element is crucial. When you scale this fast, it's not just about robots and machines, though I'm sure there are plenty. It's about the engineers, the technicians, the logistics folks, their dedication, their ingenuity. It probably reflects a certain company culture, right? Rapid iteration, solving problems on the fly.
Pushing limits.
Pushing past traditional manufacturing limits.
Yeah.
Achieving these numbers means overcoming massive hurdles, technically and logistically. That takes exceptional teamwork.
So that leads us straight to the how, doesn't it? How do you go from 5 million in 4 years to another 5 million in under 1? Let's talk about the engine room.
The manufacturing heart.
Exactly. So in the early days, where were these things actually made?
Well, initially, the terminals were manufactured right out of SpaceX's offices in Hawthorne, California.
Their main HQ, basically. Seems almost quaint now, given the scale we're talking
It
about.
does, yeah. But then came the big shift.
Right, this is where it gets really interesting. Late 2023, they opened a completely new, dedicated factory down in Bastrop, Texas, built specifically for these satellite internet dishes.
That was the game changer, no question.
It wasn't just adding a line, it was a whole new strategy.
It absolutely was. Bastrop is the heart of this manufacturing surge. To give you a sense of the sheer output, back in March of this year, reports surfaced that it was churning out something like 15,000 dishes per day.
Hold on, 15,000 every single day.
Every day. Do the math on that. That's nearly 5.5 million dishes per year from that one facility.
Okay, let's put that in context. You mentioned earlier rates.
Right. Compare that to 2021. Back then, they were producing maybe 5,000 dishes per week.
5,000 a week to 15,000 a day.
Yeah. It's not just growth, it's a revolution in their process. A more than 20-fold increase in daily output in, 2-3 years? It's pretty unprecedented in this sector.
Okay, so when you see that kind of jump, what's likely behind it? What kind of innovations or strategies allow that kind of ramp up? Is it just automation or?
It's a great question. And likely it's a mix of things. We don't have the secret sauce, obviously, but we can infer some key ingredients, like high degree of automation, almost certainly, robotics for assembly, automated quality checks that boosts throughput and consistency massively. Okay.
Then there's probably a very optimized modular design for the dish itself. Makes assembly faster, like snapping together pre-made blocks.
Simplifies the process.
Right. And crucially, I think, their big push for vertical integration, bringing more and more of the production in-house.
Controlling the pieces.
Exactly. Reduces dependency on outside suppliers, which can be huge bottlenecks when you're trying to scale this fast. That control over their own supply chain is probably vital to their speed.
That makes a lot of sense. And they're clearly not stopping there. The company apparently expects to double that output again, aiming for something like 20 million dishes assembled in the near future.
They're not tapping the brakes, are they? Clearly seeing massive unmet demand and planning way ahead.
And you can see it physically, too, that Bastrop site. It's set to expand by over 1 million square feet just this year.
Wow.
Bringing the total to around 1.7 million square feet. That's a colossal footprint just for this one product line. It's huge. And connect that expansion back to the vertical integration point. Wynne Shotwell, SpaceX's president, made this incredibly ambitious prediction.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
She said the Bastrop facility is expected to become the largest printed circuit board manufacturing facility in the entire United States.
The largest PCB factory in the whole country.
That's the claim. Think about that. Printed circuit boards are in everything, right? Your phone, your laptop, your car.
Everything electronic.
Right. Bastrop aims to make more of those key components than any other single U.S. factory. This isn't just about assembling dishes faster anymore. It's about controlling the core high-value tech inside them.
Ensuring their own supply, driving down costs, maybe.
Definitely. And pushing the boundaries of high-volume, advanced manufacturing, it could really redefine supply chain strategy for complex tech. What does that kind of control mean for their long-term dominance? It's a big question.
That level of vertical integration sounds like a massive strategic plus. But, playing devil's advocate, are there downsides? Does centralizing so much production in one giant facility create, a single point of failure risk?
It's a totally valid point, and it's always a trade-off, isn't it?
Yeah.
Vertical integration gives you amazing control. Quality, cost, IP protection, speed, but yes, it absolutely concentrates risk. If something major happened at Bastrop, that would hurt.
Right.
However, knowing SpaceX, their engineering culture, they're almost certainly building in layers of redundancy and resilience. Highly automated systems maybe reduce some human error risks, robust maintenance, maybe diverse sourcing for raw materials, even if assembly is central. For them, right now, the benefits of owning their core tech and moving incredibly fast seem to outweigh that concentrated risk. It's a bet on their own ability to execute flawlessly.
A calculated risk, then. Okay, so we've got the massive scale, the incredible acceleration, this powerhouse factory in Bastrop. Let's connect the dots. What does all this mean for you, the person listening, maybe someone stuck with slow internet?
Yeah, so what?
Exactly. Well, the most direct answer seems to be cost. This booming production capacity appears to be translating into lower hardware costs for consumers.
Which is huge for getting people in the door.
It really is. We've seen examples already. Since April, in some parts of the U.S., SpaceX has been offering the standard Starlink dish, completely free.
The hardware for free.
Yep. Normally that dish is, $349? Getting that upfront cost down to zero is a massive change in accessibility.
Is there a catch?
Well, yeah, there's usually a catch. It's conditional on signing up for a one-year service commitment. But still, removing that initial $350 barrier makes a big difference for a lot of potential users.
Absolutely. That initial hardware cost can be a major hurdle. And this ability to offer promotions like that, it stems directly from those manufacturing efficiencies, those economies of scale we were just talking about.
Makes sense.
And it allows them to offer different pricing tiers, too. So the main residential service is, what, $120 a month in the US? But they've also introduced a residential light plan. It's cheaper, like $80 a month, but you get slightly slower speeds in exchange.
So options based on need and budget.
Exactly. That kind of flexibility, offering different service levels, is enabled by having that high production volume and driving down the unit costs. It helps them reach a wider audience.
And thinking beyond the U.S., this manufacturing muscle must be key for their global plans too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Huge factor. The faster they can churn out these dishes, the faster they can expand Starlink into more international markets.
Any specific examples coming up?
Well, there are strong signals for several places. India, for instance, seems very close to getting commercial operations launched. Having the hardware ready to go in large quantities is critical for entering markets like that quickly and effectively. It helps close those global digital divides much faster.
So let's try and pull it all together then. What's the real tangible impact of this manufacturing story on, your life or the world?
Okay. For you, the individual user, especially if you're in a rural or underserved area, it means potentially faster internet, more affordable internet, and simply available internet where maybe there were no good options before.
Right. Places where fiber or cable just isn't economical to run.
Exactly. It means more people can realistically work from home, access online education, use telehealth services, participate fully in the digital world, basically.
And thinking bigger picture, beyond just me getting faster downloads, what about the broader market, global connectivity?
Well, this kind of production scale positions Starlink as a serious disruptor, not just another option, but someone who could genuinely shake up the traditional ISP market in many areas.
How so?
Their ability to mass produce these terminals and deploy the satellite constellation relatively quickly means they can enter markets fast, offer a compelling alternative, maybe force existing providers to step up their game.
Lower prices, maybe?
Yeah.
Improve service.
Potentially, yeah. Competition is usually good for consumers. And globally, it's a massive boost for digital inclusion. It provides a scalable path to connect communities that have historically been left behind by terrestrial infrastructure builds. It's a potential win for bridging those digital divides, empowering people.
Yep.
It's quite significant.
So it really feels like Starlink's manufacturing journey isn't just, a footnote in a company report. It's a real testament to rapid technological scaling.
Absolutely.
And how that scaling can have very real, tangible benefits for connecting the world is what happens when you combine, I guess, ambitious goals with serious engineering, innovative production.
And a very clear vision.
Yeah.
Indeed. And maybe a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. Consider how this capability, this rapid manufacturing and deployment for satellite internet, might reshape things beyond just basic connectivity.
Go on.
Think about rural economies. What happens when reliable broadband becomes standard? Think about disaster response. How quickly could you restore communications with this tech if ground lines are down?
Instantly, potentially.
Right. Or even future space-based industries. This assembly line to orbit approach, could it be applied elsewhere? What other sectors could benefit from this kind of radical efficiency in hardware production and deployment?
That's interesting, taking the model beyond just internet dishes.
Exactly. It prompts you to think about how these industrial breakthroughs can sometimes create entirely new possibilities, ripple outwards in unexpected ways.
That is a powerful thought to end on. Definitely gives us something to mull over. Thank you for joining us and walking us through this deep dive into Starlink's manufacturing story.
My pleasure. Fascinating stuff.
It really is. Okay, before we sign off, just a final reminder about our sponsor, Stonefly.
Right, Stonefly.
If you're looking at storage solutions, be sure to check out their special offer, a 100 TB immutable and air-gapped SSO NAS, all for just $8,995.
That's a lot of secure storage for the price.
It certainly is. You can find out more about that offer and all their other enterprise solutions at stonefly.com.
Stonefly.com. Got it.
Thanks again for listening, everyone. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.